Hello, just popping in real quick to tell you about my podcast, Unruly Fashion, brought to you by the Podpire Network. I'm your host, Noella Eze. From the title of the podcast, you can tell that it's unruly. It's not going to be a regular fashion podcast. It's not conventional. It's not normal. It's not what you expect to see, but it's going to be quite the experience. Where can you find it? Well, come hang out with us every Wednesday, wherever you find your podcast. It's going to be great. I could tell you that for free. I mean, that's where all the cool kids are. So unless you're trying to tell me you're not cool, then damn, I don't know what to tell you, son. Yeah, show up. I expect to see you there. Come along. See you later.
The following podcast is a production of the Podpire Network. Find and listen to our podcasts at thepodpirenetwork.com or wherever you enjoy your podcast. The Podpire Network, a family of inspired podcasts. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, Bibi. Glad to be back. Sorry about the technical issues last week.
Yeah. Consistency is overrated.
Consistency's overrated.
It's overrated. I mean, who cares?
No, that was driving me insane, man. My internet provider was it wasn't connecting to even Google. So I was having trouble with even giving exams for school online.
Yeah. That was a rough time.
No, I mean, the worst part was not being able to record the podcast.
By far the worst.
By far,
forget all the other things that you couldn't do.
That I couldn't do. Yeah. By far the worst thing was not being able to do the podcast.
Absolutely.
Second to that was the fact that I was having trouble giving exams for school.
A distant second.
Right. However, very excied that we are back again this week.
Yes, it's great to be back.
What a person.
Right. I think we maybe enjoyed a little too much talking about the Tinder Swindler that we sort of had to keep it going a little bit. And I think you sent this to me on Instagram, right? You DM'd me.
I think I did.
This topic. You're like, oh, look at this dude.
Hey, man, hey, man, the Tinder Swindler, quite the man, but
right.
My people are not to be outdone.
My people,
my region of the world, the subcontinent is not to be outdone.
Right. I don't even know what to say to that because I'm trying to not get in trouble here. But look,
you let me know. I'm mentally ready to do like a TV level intro for this.
Okay. Go for it.
Dear listeners, you were enthralled by the Tinder Swindler. Right. Coming to you all the way from India is no other than Ramesh Swain. Wow. India's own Tinder Swindler, who defrauded and married 27 women.
That we know of.
Because many of them we think aren't coming forward.
Yeah.
This guy is fascinating. He just, oh my God, the con
No, but
man.
this dude has been busy.
Narrated by Bibi and Sibel.
Right.
Oh yeah, we forgot to introduce ourselves. That's Bibi, and this is Sibel.
It's true.
We didn't introduce ourselves.
We forgot. We completely forgot.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Sibel, and that's
Bibi.
Bibi. Oh wait,
we
no,
didn't
sorry.
even. We are off the game today.
I'm Sibel, and that's over there. That's Bibi, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? No,
not at all. You got it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sure. Yeah. But no, jokes aside, this is Harebrained Schemes, a podcast where we talk about ill-conceived adventures or ventures that are almost always hilarious. We are very pleased to be bringing you another episode, and this time we're talking about Ramesh Swain, all the way from India. And this, I think, we are trying to diversify the geography of, the folks that we talk about. So we've brought you someone from Australia, right? And now we're going to India, which is great.
We needed to start going east. We were a little too. We were sticking around the west a little much, man.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, that was that was the intro. Today, Sibel, you're going to be doing a lot of accent work, so I hope you're ready. Now,
I'm looking forward to it.
For the folks who are disappointed that I'm not doing any of the accent work on this episode, I will say, get ye behind me, first of all, you devil. Second of all, I will say,
I tried to convince him. I tried to convince him.
Look, I could do a pretty good.
Oh, he does a great one. It's actually better than mine.
South Asian accent.
Bibi's Indian accent is better than mine. And I am a Pakistani who has spent 6 years in Pakistan.
But
Bibi's Indian accent is better than mine.
But I have a kid now. I'm trying not to get canceled. I need the show to go on. I don't want to be offensive. Because I think the thing is, so let's talk about the premise for offense, right? It's kind
of a fascinating thing, isn't it?
Right.
It changes over time.
Right. Because I do think that, some comedy absolutely cannot be delivered without you sort of putting on an impression of someone who sounds a specific way. However, because of the history of the world and just how crappy we have been as a species, we have ascribed certain stereotypes to certain people that come from certain places. And so when you do an accent from a certain place, it automatically evokes all those stereotypes, whether or not that's what you're talking about or that's what you intend to do. And so, because in its purest form, I mean, it should be serving the comedy to be able to do an accent like you're doing a West African accent, whatever that is, because we know that no two West African countries have the same accent, or you're doing a South African accent or a Southern African accent, or you're doing an East Indian accent.
We've had really good conversations about this, I think, because many of the Africans I've known growing up are brown people whose families settled in Africa.
Right.
So much of the African accents I'm familiar with were actually people who are brown.
Right.
But it's still it's still improper at this point in time for me to do an African accent because I'm not black.
Right.
And at this point in time, it would be considered offensive. And I don't disagree with that.
Right. So, I mean, it's where we are. It's a classic case of this is why we can't have nice things, right? Because if we hadn't done all the crappy things to different people from different regions, it wouldn't be an issue today. It wouldn't be automatically an offensive thing because there's no negative connotation behind it. You see what I mean? But in the past, people have done accents to denote, people from this part of the world or that part of the world are
mockery,
genetically inferior, or they're intellectually inferior, or they're. So now when you do an accent from
I personally am intellectually inferior. There's no question about that.
I'm not going to step into that, but
I'm personally
says the bioengineer says the bioengineer says the bioengineer genius
evidence of
Mensa candidate talking about being intellectually inferior. But
I have never been part of Mensa Canada.
Look, I'm just saying, this is why I'm going to leave all the accent work to Sibel, who is from the region, so nobody can cancel Sibel for that. Anyway, this is where we are, and we're talking about Ramesh. So I'm going straight to this Mashable.com article, and it says, days after the infamous Israeli-born con artist Simon Hyatt or Shimon, aka Tinder Swindler, was exposed in a Netflix documentary. The Odisha police were successful in their attempts of catching the notorious Ramesh Swain.
Yeah.
Hailed as India's Tinder Swindler, the 66-year-old notorious man was reported to have cheated and married 27 women from 10 different states. I mean, this dude is busy.
He is crazy busy. What's insane is this wasn't his only ongoing con.
No. He'd been arrested prior to this for some. Why is it that folks? So same thing with Simon, right? He also was very fond of like bank fraud and wire fraud and credit card scams. It seems like there's a through line because this dude, was also very heavy into the same things. Is there some sort of connection that we're missing on the show, Sibel?
Money isn't real.
Money isn't real.
And these guys figured it out. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
Money's as intangible as romantic love. Is
they
that what you're saying?
That if they could make up fake plastic and fake paper documents, it somehow gave them access to things.
Man.
Sorry. This is my existential crisis around money happening again.
Man. Yeah. It goes on to say, according to the Hindustan Times report, Swain would target divorced women over 40 with family issues. Can we just talk about how dastardly that is?
It is. And this is, one of the sources we use does such a good job of talking about how he was effectively exploiting a cultural issue, which was that women who were unmarried
I really want to talk about that.
So chastised that they are desperate to get married to any eligible man who fits a certain criteria within a certain age group.
Right.
And he just managed to figure out what that, how to tick those boxes.
Right.
And these women who had careers, who were doing well, and frankly, did not need a husband.
No.
By any means.
No.
Any means. We're talking about what? Like Supreme Court lawyers.
Right.
Who did not,
doctors. These were accomplished women.
BS.
These were not women that he just picked off the side of the road.
These were they were feeling pressurized.
Right. So this is once again society failing our women. This is a classic example of this sort of behavior that drives women into these very dangerous and compromising situations. Is if you look at this as well, he would target mostly divorced women, right? Mm-hmm. So it seems to me like single women have it pretty tough, but then divorced women maybe have it slightly tougher because it's like, you couldn't even keep a man. Right.
Well, you carry the mark of having, the sin of quote unquote of going through divorce because it is so unacceptable to have broken a marriage
for whatever reason, right?
And
forget the fact that you may have been in an abusive relationship. Forget the fact that you may have been going through psychological torture, maybe sometimes physical torture. Forget the fact that you may just not have been compatible and you were forced into it at a young age and you just wanted out. Forget all of that, right?
Forget all that. Forget also very frankly, Pakistan, India have incredibly high rates of violence against women, insanely high. It's so it's how on earth can you say that there could not be a valid justification for the need for divorces,
for divorce, It's really, really shocking. And so, again, society has done this to women where, it's almost a crime to be single, right? Beyond a certain age. And so Ramesh would target the 40-year-olds or thereabout, right? Because they were at that age prime to say yes to just about anyone. But,
indeed,
Ramesh did, he put some effort in. He didn't present himself as just about anyone. He was, according to him, a high-ranking government official. So, We have as part of, one of the things that we're reading for this, and this is posttoast.com. And it says, it shows a screenshot of, this guy's, online dating profile. And it says, I am a doctor, MD in medicine and DM in cardiology, and also a central government employee in the post of Deputy Secretary of Central Health Education and Training, Government of India, Ministry of Health Education. So,
right,
dude.
So let's quickly do a quick translation there, just for folks, right?
Yeah,
that were listening in.
Yeah.
So what he has done is that DM is probably director of medicine. So he's saying that I am the head of the department.
Yeah.
He's also saying I have a government job, meaning I cannot be fired.
I have connections. I'm stable. I'm earning good money.
I'm earning good money. And so he's really putting it up there. And then, so just to give you an idea.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to provide that context for people.
Yeah. No, great context. And so, armed with this sort of fake credential, he goes around breaking hearts and taking names. We will go on a quick break and then we will come back to tell you how he did it one too many times and got in trouble. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. And we are back. So, just to take you back through his greatest hits. So, this posttoast.com article was very disrespectful. They clearly did not have much of a regard for this dude. It says, this small, chubby man with a groomed mustache.
These guys just went for it.
Yeah.
Went for it.
It says, this small, chubby man with a groomed mustache might look like an average Indian man by face, but inside, he is one of Odisha's most notorious fraudsters and a habitual swindler who has married 27 women from at least 10 states, fabricated 128 credit cards, and scammed 13 Kerala banks of Kerala. Is that how it's said? Kerala?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. 13 Kerala banks of
1 crore rupees. Crore is like
10 million.
I always forget.
Yeah. Crore is 10 million. So 10 million rupees, right? He's also been accused of defrauding individuals of out of 20 million rupees by making false promises of MBBS seats at Hyderabad. What is MBBS?
MBBS is the medical degree in Pakistan, India, and used to be England.
Okay.
I forget what it stands for, but like medical blah 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 something. So MBBS literally is what MD is in North America. So when he says promises MBBS seats, it means entry admissions into a medical school.
Right.
And as you might be familiar, admission into medical school or any sort of admissions in India are very, very difficult. It is a very competitive.
Okay.
Maybe one of the it is quite something. I think I sent you that one guy, a tangentially related one where there was a medical student in India who had a Bluetooth mic.
Yes, surgically
implanted.
Oh my goodness!
Implanted into his tooth and ear, so that someone could feed him
Bluetooth.
Answers.
Quite literally.
Yes, into his ear and his tooth, so that he could read out the questions and they could tell him the answers.
That just sounds painful. Okay, so let's talk about, how in the world did this guy go about getting these women, Sibel? I mean, what do you think that there was such a, because it's one thing to not want to be single. It's another thing to fall prey to someone like this who it says he can't even speak very good English, but he has a lot of charm.
I don't know. I'd be lying. I don't know what this actual culture is in.
Right.
I'm Pakistani. I don't know what the culture is in India.
Right.
India is a much larger market. It is much, frankly, like it's a much more cosmopolitan place with a much larger, shall we say, variation in what you'd consider the middle class.
Right.
Pakistan just sort of has like a very like small, thin middle class, and then sort of the elites.
Right.
And so like your thin middle class speak English pretty fluently. And that's sort of maybe one of the easiest ways that I describe it is that everyone who speaks English as a first language at home in Pakistan is what I consider that thin middle class. Well, the thing is, you have to remember that these are conservative cultures. So you can use that to your advantage. You say that I would love to meet you for a coffee and a dinner.
Okay.
And we can discuss what we are looking for.
Okay.
And once we have decided that we are on the same page,
sprinkling in something, just to neg her a little bit there about her age, time is not on your side, sort of thing.
something like we are both mature adults.
Ooh, nice and classy.
We are both mature adults.
Right.
We both know what we are looking for.
Right.
And once we have decided what we are interested in,
right,
we can discuss what our future plans are.
Right.
So very much cut and dry.
Right.
Because it's not traditional dating culture.
Nah. Right.
This is like he was on Shadi.com. Shadi.com literally means marriage.
Ah, okay.
Right.
So they were not fooling around. These were not hookups.
No.
These were not random hookups, right?
To get This is like I'm on here to get married.
Right.
Which is why his profile is not like this is my personality. His profile is this is my resume.
Right.
So that's why things just move fast. He just needs to tick boxes. Also, by the time he's that old, you can also say, well, there isn't much family for you to meet. They've passed away.
Because he's 66, right? So who are you trying to meet?
Well, actually, I just did the math on there. So on his page that we saw, it said he was born in 1971. So we know he's actually 66, but in 1971, as of 2022, he would have actually been 51.
Right.
And his height apparently was also fake on that. And I don't know his actual height, but on there it says 5'6", so he was shorter than 5'6". Baby, don't laugh at short kings, okay?
No, never say short
kings. There's no reason to be laughing at the short kings.
I'm not laughing. For the record,
you tall elitist.
For the record, I'm not laughing at the short king.
Oh, he's definitely laughing.
I'm not.
Every time we start, before you hear any recording, Bibi just makes fun of me for being shorter than him for at least 5 minutes. He just constantly makes fun of me, and I make fun of him for being bald. This is what we do. This
is false. This is false. I neither laugh at Sibel for being short, neither do that.
Bibi's like struggling to. He's just cracking up right now.
Nor am I bald. Right now. Nor am I bald. Anyway, so. So listen. I think that, this dude. So what you're saying is
here too. Harebrained schemes will just be brain schemes.
Schemes. Yeah. No. So what you're saying is these people. This is not Tinder. So we might joke and say, this is the Indian equivalent of a Tinder Swindler. This is not Tinder. So you don't get the wrong idea. The people on here are not looking for casual dates or even dates of any kind. They're literally looking to skip all that and go straight to marriage because, again, the cultural connotations of being single past a certain time create the market for that sort of interaction, for that sort of app, for that sort of, matching algorithm, 100%. Right? And so he figures the best way to break through the noise is not to put his best foot forward, but to invent an entire new foot, which he puts forward, right? So
Maybe.
his age,
There also
his
might not be as
credentials.
Now, I mean, in Pakistan, there's a lot of, frankly, language and accent elitism, where it's like being able to speak English well and having the right accent makes a big difference.
Okay.
But I don't know if Indians are the same. In my interactions with them, they don't seem to have that kind of complex, which I really respect. So they frankly may just not care, you know? So because the only place it really matters is, can you speak it in where it matters to you, which is your technical world.
Right.
So that's not something someone's going to be talking about when they're meeting up with someone outside of their field, right? Doctors are going to talk to each other.
You're right.
So I think that's sort of where it's at.
You're right. It did say, though, that he may have married another doctor or something at some point, and then
that fascinates me.
She's the one who
did he get away
might
with
have
that?
been. Apparently, she might have been his co-conspirator, unless I'm getting my wires crossed, because
that is a very interesting one.
Yeah. No, it's really messed up. There are layers to this. But anyway, back to posttoast.com. And thanks for that stellar accent work, Sibel. It says,
it was my pleasure.
It was your pleasure.
I've lost it. I lost it, man.
Oh man, I don't
know where I went with that.
I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted to swoop in with the save on the accent, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
All right.
Okay. So it says Ace. Did you say Imam Bay?
I did not say anything.
You said Imam Bay.
Oh, man.
You problematic little man.
I love you so much, baby.
You said in Bombay. Okay, all right. So,
by the way, listeners, here's the thing. I don't know if it's actually made it into any of our recordings, but usually whenever I start like cracking up, Bibi enough, he will just start screaming Bombay at me to get me to stop. It's like our thing.
Why are you full of lies?
No, you do that. You just kind of
what I know that I've done is when Sibel does something or says something that is problematic enough, I would sort of try to recline as deeply as possible into my chair, and then I would put my hoodie over my head, literally over my head. He
tries to hide from me.
And then just, yank the ropes so that the hoodie closes shut over my head.
This is true. He does try to hide from me.
But it never works, because whenever I come out, he's still there. He's still there. So I don't know what to do.
Problematic demon. Just sitting across from him.
Just haunting the podcast. No. But okay, so postos.com, which again we've established they don't like this dude. They say a Supreme Court lawyer, a Kerala administrative service official, a chartered accountant, assistant commandant of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police, a senior executive from an insurance business, and physicians. So real doctors.
I don't get the physicians. How could you not be able to call? What kind of culture would you be in that, like, I mean, it must have been some severe toxic patriarchal BS where
I don't talk about my job. I don't talk about my work.
Why would I talk to you about my work?
I don't talk about my work. What do you?
I don't talk about my work. Yeah. Like I'm tired. It's the end of the day.
All of these people, all of these accomplished people were among his brides. Swain targeted ladies over the age of 40, as we said, who were going through a divorce or had family problems.
Yeah.
Right. His clumsy introduction should have been a red flag. But the ladies he contacted were all over 40. So again, ripe for the taking, right?
Yeah.
And as we have already mentioned, these ladies were dealing with societal pressures and family issues. At that point, it really sickens me, right? I mean, these are ladies who could be living their best life. They didn't need a man, and they definitely didn't need a man like this one. But
Yeah.
just because of that pressure, which, is just,
By the way, it can be extreme. I've seen such insane situations.
people are literally cut off from their families, right?
100%.
Because
And
they're bringing shame.
It can be on insanely tiny things. Like you can't be in touch with that person.
Oh my
or
goodness.
we're going to cut you off.
Oh
or
my
stuff
goodness.
like that. It's
my goodness.
really intense. Or like, like you're past a certain age. If you don't get married, we're not.
Right.
You're
not invited to the family functions. None of that.
It's insane.
Man. Okay. Let's talk about how he got caught.
Sanjana was lured to Bibu Prasad, Swain's.
That's another one of his pseudonyms. Just so you know.
One of the other names he made. Bibu Prasad Swain's profile on a popular Indian matrimony website right away.
Mm-hmm.
They had a quick romance and married shortly after. The pair then relocated 1,000 kilometers. Now, India is massive. 1,000 kilometers to Bhubaneswar.
Okay.
Things soon deteriorated there. When Sanjana moved in with him, she found a startling discovery. She was informed by the domestic worker shortly after arriving that in 2018, Swain had been previously married to more than one woman. And then when he wasn't at home, she went through his apartment and uncovered disturbing documentation on all of his former spouses in a cabinet he typically kept closed, which I guess is like his trophy cabinet. What was that about?
I mean, you gotta take trophies, man.
Bro,
you gotta take trophies.
I guess. I mean,
you got to take trophies. How else will the FBI catch you if you don't take trophies?
I don't know.
You gotta keep trophies.
Here's my thinking. If he was like, you know what, to stop these people from reporting me, I need to hold on to, like, I don't know, blackmail info. Keep it at the bank. Or keep it in a safe. Don't keep it in a cabinet that can be opened.
Sibel, what are you doing? What are you doing? We don't want to tell these people how to do the perfect crime. We want them to get caught. Don't tell them these things.
First of all, our entire podcast is teaching people how to do
it's teaching people how to do crime.
We basically run a podcast on how to do a better con. That's what we do.
We look at each con and we go, now class, where did they go wrong?
Where did this go wrong? What can we learn and how can we do this better?
Oh my goodness. Listen, he had, a bunch of identifying material. He had a bunch of credit cards, he had a stash of just things he'd collected from 27 marriages, right? And so this was, what led to his eventual capture. Now, this lady,
I also love
thankfully,
the commissioner. So the commissioner, the deputy commissioner said, don't forget, he was presenting himself as like 50 years old.
Yeah,
he was actually 66.
Yeah,
and the deputy commissioner says, though he looked more than 60 in real life, his victims ignored it while considering his government job. Swain took full advantage of the women's helplessness and laid elaborate traps.
Right. Yeah. So thankfully, this particular lady, Sanjana, was smart enough to get out of that situation, right? Because again, this is just, can we acknowledge the bravery of Sanjana? Because number one, she's been divorced, right?
Yeah.
That she moves in with. So already she's dealing with all the pressures that comes with being divorced.
Right.
And she finds someone else and gets married to him and then moves 1,000 kilometers away from everything and everyone she knows.
Yep.
And now to have the bravery, the courage to get divorced a second time, to leave that toxic, because most people in that situation, you would like to say, oh, I know I wouldn't stand for it, but you don't know how, you don't know what it's like.
And also then to deal with the law enforcement situation
and the exposure that brings and all that stuff.
Because I know, at least from my experience in Pakistan, that like dealing with the cops can often be a very uncomfortable experience, especially for women. So, yeah.
So bravery on so many levels. Yeah. If you're looking for a hero in this story, this is the hero, because what she does is she flees and she starts to contact the different people, again, she just uncovered this treasure trove of, information on all his previous wives and stuff. So she starts to contact them to say, hey, do you guys maybe want to do a class action thing with me?
Yeah.
Can we get this guy off the streets? You know what I mean? She contacts one of these ladies, and it turns out that she's probably in it with him, because she contacts her, and the next thing she knows, her grown-up son, who may or may not be Swain's son as well, then calls and says, don't interfere with my father's business.
Right.
That is crazy.
Right.
So imagine, Sibel, I'm calling you to say, hey, I've been the victim of the same, person as you. Sibel, do you want to team up to, maybe take this guy to the police or something? And the next thing I have your sister calling me saying, don't interfere with my brother's business.
Right.
It's
insane.
Like, what? Yeah. So this goes really deep, and to think that he had, an enabler that was probably sharing some of the profits with him, that just makes me really sad. So, if there's anyone that we should be thanking for getting this guy off the streets,
Sanjana.
It would be Sanjana. And let's go on another quick break, and then I want to talk to you about just the very cinematic way in which this guy was apprehended. I love it. It's something straight out of a movie. And yeah, he deserved that. So let's go. We'll be right back. Okay, and we are back to Post Toast, which I am just absolutely loving today. It says, the crew was caught off guard when Ramesh Swain appeared from his leased car. This wasn't your typical Don Juan situation. He was barely 5 feet 2 inches tall. So, Sibel, there you have your answer.
He was 5'6", man. He was saying he was 5'6".
You have your answer. He was 5'2". Okay,
and
so
5'6". That's
as Swain was surrounded from all sides, he surrendered with a faint smile. By the time the police team had done questioning him, they knew they had apprehended one of Odisha's most notorious scammers.
Jeez.
That's it. That's what I wanted to highlight.
That's
his
crazy.
His car was surrounded. They did the whole get out the car with your arm,
and
hands up, all that stuff. It just comes out slow-mo with a faint smile. I mean, I'm not gonna give this guy any coolness points. It's just I'm happy he was arrested. I'm happy he was arrested.
I actually, at the end of the Post-Toast article, I actually love the little bold concluding paragraph.
I saw that too, and I love that. Please do that.
The author says, as long as society pushes women into weddings, fraudsters like Swain will exist. Incidents like this, hopefully, encourage society to reflect, and learn from them.
This is true. This is what we've been saying the whole episode, right? But I mean, it's almost sad to be this cynical, but for me, I'm thinking, this story is not going to change. Is not going to cause the entire institution of culturally forced marriages to change overnight. People are not going to care enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's changes. Maybe it changes a few people. It's like it's
maybe, and that's the best we can hope for, right?
I think
that's the best we can hope for. Absolutely. There's a Vice article, and the headline simply states, I hope he rots in jail. And this is from Sanjana, and they quoted her as saying that. But it's terrible. It also said, a part of that Vice article, and then we'll be done with this for sure, just to say how deeply this goes. It says, he showed documents to prove those credentials when he came down to my house. So not only was he putting this fake stuff on the dating profile, right? He also went as far as creating documentation to back that up. So imagine showing up to your first date with all your credentials, right? Like, because like Sibel said, this was not to date. This was, are we doing this or not? Right.
Yep.
This was, look, this is my resume. I have a government job. I have this, I have that. Are we getting married or not? Right. And like we discussed earlier, it was only a short romance. And then next thing they were married. Right. So yeah, it's just really, really harmful, guys. I mean, honestly, society has failed women in so many ways, and continues to do so. And I can just hope that, stories like this, when they come to light, they make us stop and think about what we're really doing, because this is unforgivable, man. This is
Well said.
unforgivable.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
Anyway, that's the episode. Thank you so much for sticking with us.
Thank you.
And we hope that you had a great time and you learned something. And we will be back hopefully next week. You can find us on Instagram at Hairbrain Schemes Pod. And you can find the podcast itself wherever you find podcasts. So yes, that's been the episode. Thank you so much and take care. Any last words, Sibel?
Nah.
You Bombay?
This time. That's on you. That's on you this time.
All right. No worries. I can say it. It's fine. It's fine when I say it.
You say it great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.